We got a hot one today as the NFL world reacts to the Chicago Bears not getting any compensatory picks due to Ian Cunningham signing with the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but Ian Cunningham does get hired by Atlanta. And while it was widely assumed that the Bears would get compensatory picks, Chicago Bears are walking away with absolutely nothing. We're going to break it all down, the whys and everything. Plus, we got updates on the coaching staff and who may or may not be leaving Ben Johnson's coaching staff. And we're going to dive into the mailbag. All that and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. So, Chicago Bears assistant general manager has a new opportunity being the GM of the Atlanta Falcons, and this sucks. I've said it before. Ian Cunningham is not just a yes man. He actually does things, for the Chicago Bears. He's helped scout the Chicago Bears. He's helped pointed out certain players to Ryan Poles. He's done a lot of things, right? And while it was widely assumed, I had just assumed that we'd be getting, 2 third-round picks and compensatory picks. We're actually not getting that at all, mainly because he's not being designated as the main decision maker, even though it is a promotion from assistant general manager to a GM with the Atlanta Falcons. Because he's not going to be the primary decision maker. That's where it's let out right now. Now, the NFL does have the right in this to go ahead and reward the Chicago Bears compensatory picks. They can choose to do that. They can choose to give them, let them still have those compensatory picks. They can absolutely do that. But it seems like right now the assumption around the league is that the Bears will not be getting those compensatory picks. The NFL is not going to step in and do anything. And this, of course, leads to frustration from Chicago Bears fans. I mean, you look at somebody like Ian Cunningham, who has been important to the Chicago Bears. On top of that, regardless, it is a promotion for him. I know some people say, well, technically it's a lateral move. You go from an assistant GM to the actual GM. That's not a lateral move. That's literally a promotion in of itself there. And so it seems like because of certain structures of organizations are different, right? Certain teams have a GM, but then they also have a president of football operations that basically runs the day-to-day. So it makes the GM kind of more of an assistant GM than a regular GM, and that is what's being used here for this ruling, right? So the NFL still has an opportunity. They can choose to do so. Officially, a decision has not been met yet. So it's not official that the Bears aren't going to get compensatory picks or that they're not, because the NFL could step in. But if they remain quiet about it, it probably is pointing towards the Bears not getting compensatory picks for losing Ian Cunningham. And that's just the unfortunate part of that. But what this now does, I've talked a little bit about this before, and the chances that the Bears do or do not lose Ian Cunningham. But now we have to pivot towards who's going to be the next man up for the Chicago Bears. What are the Bears going to do? Who are they going to get to replace Ian Cunningham? Are they going to promote from within? Are they going to bring somebody from the outside in? That remains to be seen. There are already some speculation on exactly who the Bears could target in that case, and we'll see. Right, we'll see if those end up being true. But I'm sure we'll start hearing names, start hearing things next week. This happening right before the weekend. You're probably going to have a pretty quiet weekend in regards to it. Or, I mean, hey, if Ryan Poles already has a guy in mind, you can see the Bears move pretty diligently in that and get a guy in there pretty quickly. So, we'll see what happens. All signs right now, via what we've heard, though, have pointed to Jeff King, who is the senior director of player personnel, getting that promotion. Reportedly, like his work that he's done in being in the front office over the past years, and that Ryan Poles already trusts him. Ryan Poles has leaned on him as well, and he's starting to gain some respect around the league. So would not be surprised at all to see Jeff King being the guy that, because it's the easiest decision to be brought in to get that promotion, move up to assistant GM, and then, we'll work on it at that point on and see what's going forward, right? But hey, it still does leave the Chicago Bears without one of their best evaluators. And that's what Ian Cunningham, the special thing that he brought here, he's somebody who really helped evaluate we've seen, like Ryan Poles has even said, to him before about draft picks, pointing out certain things, or, waiting, where the Bears were thinking about trading up early in the draft, and Ian Cunningham was like, hey, let's just wait. That guy's probably going to fall to us. And they did, right? So you have those type of things that Ian Cunningham has done. He's not just been a figurehead here. He's actually been somebody that has helped make decisions, helped establish what we're now doing here with Chicago. And it's going to be a miss either way. But if Jeff King does end up getting that promotion, great. I talked about potentially bringing somebody from the outside in, so for a new perspective. But hey, if you're rocking with what you've already built here, people that you already have, a relationship that you've already worked with hand in hand for years, and especially hearing that Ryan Poles has already leaned on Jeff King before, so be it. Whatever gets this Bears team to make the decisions that they need to do, whatever people need to be in place, it actually starts feeling like we're building a culture here in Chicago. So whereas before it may have been some questions on laziness if we promoted somebody from within, it seems like this is due to what what we've established in the front office and in the coaching staff over the last couple of years, and we'll see. We'll just see what happens there. So overall, if the Bears get compensation, great. If they don't get compensation, great. And we'll continue to see who and what is going to what they're going to do about the assistant GM role, who they end up bringing in, if they even do interviews, or we may just hear of a straight up promotion with no fluff, no frills, and we just keep it pushing that way as the Bears have other things that they need to look at. So let me know what you guys think on that down below. With that said, so we have now already this offseason have lost Eric Bieniemy and lost Ian Cunningham. Two of the other people that we could have lost on the coaching staff were Declan Doyle and Al Harris, as they both have had interviews at other positions. Well, Brad Biggs of the Chicago Sun-Times threw out that Doyle and Harris are likely to stay, saying this: at this point, the only change that they're going to have is replacing Eric Bieniemy at the running backs coach. Declan Doyle probably winds up staying put with Chicago for at least one more season, and Al Harris, I don't think anything is going to materialize for him in Pittsburgh at this point. But at this point, I'd expect Declan Doyle and Al Harris for Ben Johnson's staff in 2026. And that's music to my ears. I mean, in what the Bears have been able to do in 1 year with this coaching staff, I, of course, want to see them get an opportunity to see what they can do with the same coaching staff and taking another step in the following year, rather than have a bunch of changes and things that need to be done there. Bad enough we already lost Eric Bieniemy. Ben Johnson has talked about the importance of having creative people in there and people that he trusts, people that want to be in Chicago. And I love keeping guys that coaches, like I said, we're still very early in establishing it. Yeah, we know that we're going to lose Al Harris at some point. He's going to get a DC job. Declan Doyle at some point is going to get a job where he actually gets to call the plays as the offensive coordinator. I said it before. We were probably a year or two early when we hired Declan Doyle for the position of offensive coordinator, and that was Ben Johnson looking ahead. Declan Doyle very well could be the next Ben Johnson. That could very well be who he ends up being as far as a creative offensive mind that gets to call plays, and then eventually over the next 3 years or so works him up to a head coaching position. It could definitely happen. But to get another year of these guys here for, like I said, what we're trying to start establishing here in Chicago, I think is exactly what most Bears fans should want to see. You want to keep things the same as much as you can. And while Ben Johnson had a very good and a great leadership comment in regards to he believes that they have the best staff in the world, so of course people are going to want to come for their staff. They have a 5-star staff, according to Ben Johnson. So people are going to want to see that. And so we'll at the end of the day, you got when you win, they're going to poach your staff. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. There's no other way around it. You're going to get your staff poached at some time. The question that you have to ask yourself is, how much have you gotten to establish? And then at that point, who have you built somebody up to take over that role within your organization? I would love to see us be an organization that has such a level of staff that we continually develop within. Of course, as you do that, you got to bring in new people. But I would just love to be that team that has that, and eventually look around and then we'll say, hey, how many former Ben Johnson staffers now have head coaching positions? How many former Ben Johnson position coaches now are coordinators at other places? I would love to be able to have a tree. Like, we've never really had that for the Chicago Bears. We always are hiring people from other trees, and Ben Johnson is that as well too. But I would like to be able to, for once, can we be the franchise to establish that? That would be pretty damn cool, right? So, all those things being there, man. Keeping Al Harris, keeping Declan Doyle, I think are great, especially we got some young secondary members there that can really learn. Zay Frazier working another offseason with Al Harris. I would love to see that, man. And, I think that's an important part of this. Like, yeah, Al Harris is part of the thing that preaches those takeaways and tries to get that. He's done that in every step that he's been in. And while that was a great identity, I still want to see us be more than just the takeaways, right? I want to see us actually have something solid that we can build outside of just the takeaways, because as we've seen it, you can't bet, especially as you get into better and better matchups. And in playoffs, you can't just live and die by the takeaways. So I think to establish that, we'll see what's going to happen there. But I have one fun question, and I want to hear from you guys on this one. Leave voicemails. Tomorrow, Bobby and C-Dub do the voicemails. I think this would be a great voicemail topic to hand off to them. I want to know who you guys think had the most disappointing season for the Chicago Bears last year. Here are the candidates, right? Javon Dexter. Javon Dexter. Let's put Javon Dexter number one. Javon Dexter, even though he did have, 6 sacks last year, Javon Dexter still has not, that consistency part of it has not been there for Big Dex. And while he has all the physical tools that you look at, that has not been there, right? So let me know if Javon Dexter. Next up, Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett's a great question here because much like we signed veterans on the offensive line, we signed a veteran in Grady Jarrett on that defensive line on a 3-year, $43 million contract. And for what it's worth, he had 1.5 sacks last year, 8 QB hits in 14 games. As much as we talk about Javon Dexter being a disappointment, he outplayed the veteran in Grady Jarrett by far. Next up, Olamide Zaccheaus. How disappointed were you guys in Olamide Zaccheaus? We signed him at a 1-year, $1.5 million contract to come in and be that slot receiver. Now, he eventually lost to Luther Burden. That's not a problem. But drops, all those type of things, the production, everything was down there to eventually Zaccheaus was almost unplayable. How big of a disappointment was Zaccheaus to you? Next up, Dayo Odeyingbo. Now, this is a guy that we signed 3 years, $48 million, and as a depth piece, he's been pretty damn good. He's a second-round pick, right? He got 1 sack in 8 games to go along with 4 QB hits and 2 tackles for a loss. Now we have heard he's going to move back more to the interior this upcoming year, but at the end of the day, for somebody that his job was simple, just do enough, use your size and your speed to do enough to where other teams couldn't double team Montez Sweat enough, and he didn't even live up to those. It was pretty damn disappointing, right? And then lastly, I think the last player that I want to put on this list as far as players that were just disappointing for the Chicago Bears last year, man. How disappointed were you guys in any of the offensive line? Like maybe Braxton Jones. Was you guys disappointed in Braxton Jones' season last year? Tyreek Stevenson is another one. Were you guys disappointed in him and his growth that you had last year? Let me know what you guys think on any of that. The offensive line doesn't get none for me. I think the offensive line performed too well, even though some of the individual players didn't give what I wanted consistently. Tyreek is an easy one that you can pick on as well. You can even say Jalen Johnson, even though he hurt. But who was your most disappointing Bear? Call in with that. Give that for Bobby and C-Dub for tomorrow's mailbag. But for that, let's go ahead and get into our mailbag episode for today. We got 4 voicemails that I want to get into. This one's from Ant.
Yo, what up, fellas? This is Ant, the Army vet. Calling in about 3 things I want to talk about. First and foremost, I want to give kudos and flowers to Ben Johnson, not just for his what he did for the team and getting us all those wins, but his leadership. You know what I'm saying, from coaches. Because me as a former NCO and military, I know Bobby will understand this. Like, my job was to raise up and mentor other leaders and give them an opportunity to, when it's time for them to go out there and get a leadership role, they can shine in it, and people will look to them first when it comes to leadership roles, and they had a confidence that they're going to get it done. And that's what Ben Johnson did with his coaching staff. That's why they're getting all these interviews and everybody trying to poach from his coaching staff. So kudos to that man and flowers to that man, because that is not an easy thing to do, to be a leader of all men and not just players on the field. Second thing I want to talk about, Caleb Williams and all these haters about the goals that him and Ben Johnson set for himself. So all you dumb sluts, listen up, because this is the truth right here. Caleb Williams himself, he hit every benchmark he and Ben Johnson set for himself. What I mean by that, if you add in all the drops that all the receivers, tight ends, and running backs made for all those on-target passes, Caleb Williams would have had over 4,500 yards passing, over 30 touchdown passes, less than 6 interceptions, and he would have had over 69% completion percentage. Every benchmark Ben Johnson set for him, that man went to work and he hit it. He hit every last one of them. 70% passes, over 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, because 2 of them interceptions that he had was off drop passes. That man did everything he supposed to have did and did it with so much hard criticism. He stepped up to the plate. He rose to the occasion. His fourth quarter comeback. That man got Iceman for a reason. That boy got ice in his veins. Leave that man alone. That's that franchise right there. And if he'd have hit all those, if those passes would have been caught, just understand if those passes would have been caught, he'd have had them to the same numbers as Matthew Stafford and been talking about him as an MVP finalist. That's a Chicago Bears quarterback, an MVP finalist. Come on, man. And the last thing I want to talk about, this is what I want y'all opinion on, is do y'all feel, because I feel like Colston Loveland got snubbed on Offensive Rookie of the Year. Because if Tyler Shuck and Austin Jinsey can get in there, come on, man. Colston Loveland had more of an impact. And that's what playing less games than him. If he'd have played all 17 games, he'd have had over 1,000 yards receiving. It's my opinion. I think he got snubbed. Let me know what y'all think. As always, shout out up, bear down. Y'all have a good one.
Ben Johnson's leadership is the key to this whole thing working out. Like the leadership that Ben Johnson brings is a key to this whole thing, establishing the culture, establishing the expectation, getting good coaches in here, developing players. His leadership is the thing that brings all of this together, right? And so it's great. Now, as far as your Caleb what-ifs, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we can't live off the what-ifs. The season was the season for Caleb. Caleb also had missed throws and missed opportunities. Yeah, drops were a definite factor in that, and he does have a whole bunch more yards and a few more touchdowns if the drops weren't there. But he also had that for some of his under and overthrows as well. But the numbers are the numbers. And I don't say that to doubt or anything, but I say that to say now it's up to Caleb to actually get to those numbers, not have the what-if numbers. Get to those actual numbers in the season. I would love to see that because Caleb, like you said, he's our franchise quarterback. It is what it is. He's the franchise quarterback. People still hate on that, but it is what it is. As far as Colston, yeah, he may have gotten snubbed for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but here's the thing. Colston Loveland is going to use that for motivation. And listen, people can keep denying Colston Loveland if they want to. Dude's too talented. I think he's going to have a hell of a career here in Chicago. So let them keep doubting him. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's the deal, fellas? It's your boy Keys, man. Hope all is well with you guys. With that being said, let's get to it. So, Haize, I was listening to the show today, and, with the Mad Max thing, man, I do want him on this team. I think he could bring a valuable piece. Him on the Bears would be as valuable as when we got Joe Tooney last year. That's what type of impact I expect out of him. If he was to come to Chicago and play for DA on that defense, he'd probably be up for Defensive Player of the Year next year in 2026. That's the impact I see. Do I see it happening? I give it like a 20% chance. But here's a scenario I'm thinking, right? I think after the draft and after the Senior Bowl and how we got to configure and do everything with the cap and all that stuff like that, would it make more sense? I know we're going to trade for him, but I'm asking you, would it make more sense to trade for Maxx and possibly trade DJ after June 1st? Not before June 1st because, they take the cap hits and all that stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, would that be a thing that would be opposed? Also, if we're going to trade for Mad Max, you're going to give up 2 firsts. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll probably be willing to give up Javon Dexter and Tyreek Stevenson, along with the draft picks, to the Vegas Raiders. As far as DJ, I don't know if he'll necessarily go there, but I could see Poles because Poles has done pretty much good by guys that he knows he have respect for and that respect him, all right? So I look at a scenario where we free up that cap and we may send DJ to, say, San Francisco once they cut Brandon Ayuk or Buffalo, anything like that. I know you mentioned that in the previous episode with Gregory. So I could see him doing something like that, a place where they can take that on. They need a wide receiver. Maybe even Philadelphia if they get rid of A.J. Brown. DJ could go there. You know what I'm saying? So there's all many different scenarios. But also when it comes to the draft, man, in case we don't trade our way our first-round pick of this year, we have to go get, hopefully he falls to us, Caden McDonald. That would be a guy we plug in and put him next to Shamar Turner. And, as always, let me know what you think. Shout out up, bear down.
it's going to take a lot to get Maxx Crosby. Whether it's you can convince him on a nice mix of players or draft picks. If it's draft picks, just to send out some salary to help alleviate that a little bit for the Chicago Bears. It is what it is. It's a huge win now move that signals exactly that this team is gunning for this first Super Bowl. That's the type of move. And I'm not mad at Bears fans either to say, listen, I don't want to give up a first and a second. I don't want to give up those level of picks to get Maxx Crosby where we are now. I understand that too. I think overall, like, he just has to address it. And if Poles makes a big swing like Maxx Crosby, especially considering the salary cap situation that we're in, best fucking believe it's about to be like, it means that this team thinks that they are making a run for a Super Bowl in 2026. And so we'll see what happens there. As far as the post June 1st cuts, I mean, that does help create a little bit more cap space and flexibility, but it comes back to bite you in the ass next season, right? So there's a way to kind of push it off down some, but it is a mechanism that I think we will use to some degree. I don't know in the Maxx Crosby trade or anything like that exactly, but we'll use it to some degree for sure. We have every single year, as most NFL teams do. We're going to use it to some degree. I just don't know if it's going to be used in tandem with the Maxx Crosby trade, but we shall see. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Xavier.
What's going on, guys? This is Xavier calling in, man. I just want to speak on these off-season moves that the Bears are probably gonna make. Feeling like, bro, I'm on the side of letting Ryan Poles cook in the draft. Regardless if he's had some shortcomings in the draft. We all know this. Some of the bullshit that he's done, but I mean, he's had more hits in the draft than misses, in my opinion. And if you look at the past 2 years, bro, he really rebuilt our offense through the draft, bro. The past 2 years, especially, you look at Caleb, Rome, you look at Luther Burden, Ozzie Trapillo, Mononga, all of these, Loveland, all of these are major pieces of our offense that he went and got in the draft. So I feel like, man, let him cook and see if he can find either the best available defensive tackle for our first round pick, or either the best edge rusher available at that first round pick, and see what we can do, man. Because obviously, man, yes, we need help along the defensive line, but I'm not trying to give up a haul of draft picks for Maxx Crosby. I love Maxx Crosby. But bro, if we can get him for like one pick and maybe two players or something, I'm with that all day. But I'm not trying to really give up 2 first rounders for him. And Max is great; he's generational. But we also got to understand that he has a lot of miles on his body, bro. Miles has a whole lot of miles on his body. Max has a whole lot of miles on his body. So I don't know if you feel me giving up 2 first round picks. In my opinion, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad move, but I would err on the side of caution on that. I feel like we definitely need another defensive tackle because Javon Dexter has not made the step that I thought that he would have made. It's about to be year 4 for him next year, and he still looked like the same player that we saw walk in the door at Hallis Hall. Not saying that he didn't get any better in any areas, but it's not the growth that we needed, the growth that we expected. So, especially adding Grady Jarrett to get in this era as the veteran behind him, I thought we would have saw a big jump, but we didn't. But, man, I'm all with letting Ryan Poles cook. And if we can get Khalil Mack, I'm not jumping for joy because he's older. But, you know, shit, if we get one of them young defensive tackles or defensive ends in the draft, I'm with it, man. Chicago up, bear down.
Yeah, outside of the offensive line, you're right. Most of the offense was built through the draft. Caleb, drafted. Kamenon got drafted. Luther Burden, drafted. Rome Odunze, drafted. Right? Even Darnell Wright on the offensive line, drafted. Ozzie Trapillo, drafted. Theo Benedict was a free agent signing in UDFA, if I'm not mistaken. So that, I mean, a nice mix of, but most of it was, and most of the weapons were drafted. I mean, even Cole Kmet, right? Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, drafted. So, yeah, we have really built that offense through the draft. And building through the draft is what provides the financial flexibility because you're not going out there and having to give a big money contract. But with that said, sometimes you need that impact now. And so you need to bet on it now. And sometimes you are willing to give up draft compensation for it. Now, we haven't really seen Ryan Poles, for what it's worth, being willing to give up multiple day 1 picks or something like that for a player. But maybe that changes with what he saw from the Bears this year. You never know. Once you really feel like your window's open, how much you're willing to really dive into that window. That's going to be the determining factor here, and we shall see. All right, let's get into this last voicemail for today, man. This one's from Fred.
Hey, yo, Haize, what up, man? It's be your boy Fred, man. What it do? Hey, man, I just want to say this, man. I'm happy. I want to say congratulations to the Bears for them overachieving that, nobody didn't think they was going to do the impossible. Win the division and make the playoffs. And beat Green Bay ass not once, but twice. I want to, get that out the way. And also, I like the fact that Ian Cunningham finally got hired, though, and we got, extra draft picks. And that's going to come in handy. Because if we talk about being a championship team, let's go ahead and make some moves. Like, why not? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we got guys on the roster that's probably willing to take a pay cut or whatever the case may be. And I'm pretty sure Ryan Poles is going to make things happen as well. And congratulations to Ian Cunningham on getting the GM job with the Falcons. Something that they did right in that area because the head coach, as far as the head coach they hired, that shit's the trash. But anyway, I ain't worried about the Falcons though. But I just want to see my Bears, get that D-line together. And, our linebackers as well too though. Hopefully we'll have, healthy players as well too, man. And I'm hoping we do bring Brisker back and draft some safeties as well too. And possibly get another left tackle because we don't know when Ozzy gonna, come back, and be ready. So it's time for the Bears to go ahead, get locked and loaded, get ready because we already know the league and everybody, gonna be trying to gun for us though. So yeah, I'm happy for them and I congratulate them. And some Bears fans they up there, disappointed talking. Oh, they lost to the Rams or whatever though. I'm like, yeah, okay, they lost to the Rams, but at least they made the playoffs and won the division though. And Ben Johnson first year as the coach though. So as fans, we gotta stop, being down, on our Bears, I know they gave us, terrible years over the time, whatever though. But now things are starting to turn up. And another thing too, I want to say, like some Chicago fans up here getting mad because Derrick Rose got his jersey retired. He's homegrown, Chicago born and raised. Like stop all that hating on that man. That man did good, man. So I just want to put that out, man. Let me know what you think what the Bears gonna do with the additional picks we got, and hopefully that we can make a move on getting either Crosby or hell, getting Trey Henson. Let me know what you think, big dog. Chicago up, bear down to nothing. Let's get it.
Bro, I need you to smoke a little something before you call. That voicemail was all over the place. My bro had no focus at all in that entire voicemail. You even got some Bulls content in that voicemail, Fred, get some focus factor. Get some weed. The Nightshade is the strain that I'm smoking right now. It's just really good. Get you something that gets you a little bit focused in on there, bro. Some Adderall, I don't know, because that voicemail was all over the place. But I will say this the season was a success for the Bears in a lot of ways, all jokes aside, and it was a success in finding a direction and a path now. The Bears have been pathless and directionless for so long. We now have that direction, and we have our coach, we have our quarterback, and now let's go out here and get stuff done. We got our wide receivers in Burden and Rome and DJ, for that matter, until he's actually traded, if at all he is. We got an up-and-coming tight end who could be one of the best in football in Colston Loveland. Still got Cole Kmet there. We got questions. We got to fix that defensive line. We got to figure out what's going on with the linebackers, how many are going to be hurt to start the season. But the Bears have really found a direction and a path, and that's the most important part of what we established in 2025. Now, let's take it to the next level. Let's get to where we need to get to. But with that said, man, that's going to do it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Central. But I need to hear from y'all. One, should the Bears be getting comp picks for Ian Cunningham? Yes or no? How do you feel about it? Are you relieved that it looks like Declan Doyle and Al Harris may be staying here in Chicago? And how aggressive should Ryan Poles really be this offseason? Crosby-level aggressiveness or smarter, kind of more pivots, more controlled pivots? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. That's thanks to y'all. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.